Welcome to Street Scene Power Hour. Once again, we're coming to you from all over the country here. So, bear with us. And we have our hosts, Larry Ward, Rick Guerrera. I'm Greg Roten, and we welcome you to listen to us talk and babble and do all sorts of things on the podcast and the video broadcast that you probably don't want to hear anyway. So,
what episode is this? 53?
I don't know, 53, good number.
53, yeah, 53, yeah.
So,
is that how old you are?
No, I'm not that old, but that's Herbie's number, Herbie the Love Bug.
Okay.
So, we wanted to welcome Kurt Diserio, is that right?
That's it, yep.
And he is from Pitsburgh Moto, and he is just got a laundry list of credentials and everything with it. And Denise Dickerson, and she is FZ1 Girl, correct?
Correct.
And we want to welcome them. We're going to get to them in just a second, but we're going to go around horn. We've got some stuff to go over. And Rick, we're going to start with you. What's going on in the car world and your world and everything else underneath of it?
Nothing much, really. It's a boring time of the year. I'm still playing around with the 69 Firebird, so that's
a nice
turned out pretty good. Yeah, it turned out it's turning out really nice. So I got some work to do with it, and it's good. I can't wait to get it on the road here.
So if you want to bring up the speed, Rick bought a 69 Firebird. It is a red convertible. Finally replacing his 64 Thunderbird converball,
which was a red convertible. It's red, white on white, yeah.
Yeah, so Rick's been you got that ship from Oklahoma. Sorry,
Indiana.
Denise. That's what I'm thinking. Denise is from Oklahoma, so that's what I got in the brain. So
Oklahoma is okay, huh?
Yep, and you got it shipped in and doing some work on it and getting it ready for the car show season.
It's taking all my money.
Well, they all do. It doesn't matter what. Larry, I got word from you that you had some news to tell us as well.
Well, I don't know if it's news and that, but I decided to come out of retirement. And one of my longtime friends, Bill Baumberger, who owns Newcastle Harley Davidson, I used to do all the Daytona Bike Week promotions, and Bill was a sponsor of the Two Wheel Power Hour motorcycle show. So I came to work here about a week and a half ago and managed to sell 4 bikes already. And it's a little easier than the radio business,
great.
I have to tell you that.
Hey, they had a kind of a record year this year, didn't they? Harley Davidson. They said they were selling them like crazy.
Oh, they do. And then the nice thing about this dealership, you buy one bike here, you'll probably buy 3 or 4 or 5 in your lifetime. And I want to mention too that I do a lot of adventure touring in that, and I come from the BMW world, so I'm very familiar with the variations of the R, 1200, 1250 GSs. But I'm starting to really look seriously at the Pan American because I have enough time to spend with it now. A lot lighter bike, but I think the thing with the Pan American is that you have to find a dealership that it has people that are enthusiastic about that. That it's a dramatic departure for Harley Davidson for what they're doing with their big V twins and stuff like that. So I like it, and I think we sold about 8 of them already. So we're going to start a Pan American club and get them going like that. And I might even pick up one, but I like them a lot. They got a lot of cool things like adaptive ride height. You sit at a stop sign, the whole bike lowers down so you're on the balls of your feet. A lot of cool things. It's got a Rev Max 1250 motor, big horsepower.
And what bike? Which bike are you talking about?
Harley Davidson Pan American. Yeah, it's an adventure touring bike. Yeah, it's a total departure. It's almost, if you think of the GSs in the BMW world or the KTM 1190s and 1200s, it's very, very similar. It's got the Rev Max Revolution 1250 motor, big horsepower and real huge torque. So that's what's going on with that.
What's the weight?
It's a little right around 550, which is no 550, which really gives it a big edge over. Yeah, and it's thin. It's not a wide bike, and you can pick it up if you drop it. You really got to get some friends if you're going to drop a GS. So a lot wider because of the horizontal motor in that. But I think Harley finally hit on something, and they're into the 3rd year of production on that. So we've already gone past the 2 years where they give up. So I think this bike's here to stay, and it's selling pretty well. At the end of this month, don't forget, Dave and Ed Swap Meets. The swap meet that was in Canton is now coming here to the big, $1 billion building they have at the Campfield Fairgrounds. So that's coming up.
When is that, Larry?
I want to say the 26th. If you look at the calendar.
26?
That's a Sunday.
Is it one day or 2 days?
It's a 1 day. So I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's Sunday.
Sunday
26th.
the 26th of February then.
Oh, super.
And I talked to Corey.
I'm going to Detroit
just to mention it, so that. And then in March, of course, we've got the big motorcycle swap meet up at Yankee Lake. That's always a blast. I usually find something, whether it's a tachometer or a carb rebuild kit or something. So, and in between that, sandwiched, I'm out of here on the March 2nd. Just like last year, I'll take the laptop and we'll do the show live from down there. So it'll be kind of cool.
So we're going to be really jealous of you because you'll have nice weather and we'll be stuck up here in this crap. And so we'll. Yeah.
Hey, Larry, you're used to doing shows from Daytona anyway, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, I went down in our heyday, years ago, Monica Cormel was a managing partner. And I don't know how I met her, but somebody introduced me to her. And I told her about the radio show. And then I ended up morphing it into, we'll do the radio show live from the foyer, the lobby, and we'll have big flat track guests come in. The mayor of Daytona gave me the keys one day, Then after the show, he took them back. But I'll tell you what, we rock and roll. We had a lot of the guys that were on Supercross, and then we would have the Daytona 200 professionals stop in and that. And it was just a total riot. And then that whole week I'd call in on Fast Freddy's show when he was on 93.3 The Wolf. And I'd do little updates about what's going on the nightlife, stuff like that. And Freddie actually came down, I think it was like maybe 2 years ago. And he stayed the whole week with me. And I got to tell you, the only time I saw him was when he wheeled in at 4 a.m. And then when I left at 8 o'clock in the morning, he was out, but he was like a bat. He'd get back up at 10 o'clock and he goes, "Hey, I'll see you later." And then sometimes I wouldn't see him for 2 days. So he definitely had a good Daytona.
I was going to say that you're having a good time if you don't show up.
And this lady, Denise Dickerson, a couple years ago, I met up with her and her friend, and we ended up going to a bar where, I don't know, it was a cycle club like the Hells Angels or whatnot. And we went to that bar, and boy, I don't know, Denise, you guys wouldn't let me get out of there without buying me 3 or 4 drinks. And then we went to another place, and then they eventually went over and went home. But I'm hoping Denise will come down to Daytona this year. Hope she's got it schedule-wise, can work it out,
Well, say that one more time, Denise.
It is scheduled. Whether I make it or not is still to be decided.
Well, you're close to retirement. You're probably counting the years or days or whatever.
The days now. I'm trying to.
Good for you.
Yeah, see.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's something that, again, if Denise is near retirement, we have 2 old fuddy-duddies, Rick and Larry, that are already retired. And then there's Kurt and me that,
we're jealous. That's all. You're jealous. I don't have to get up early in the morning or go to work Monday through Friday.
I think this is going to be a good interview with Kurt, Rick,
Let's get some, we talked to Denise. She's got quite a story in that bike. If you're watching the video broadcast of this, if you're listening to the podcast, tune into the YouTube broadcast a little bit later, because she's got a motorcycle behind her that's got quite a history behind it. But Kurt, this is your resume, and it just keeps growing and growing, and it's huge. You are dabbled into a little bit of everything on the motorcycle and art. Give us a little bio of, what you're all about.
I think, my wife and I run a creative venture company. So it's kind of like we were both artists in a small town in West Virginia before we moved to Pittsburgh. So really what we kind of do is run a company that oversees other projects of ours. And at the same time, we offer like creative services to clients and different things like that. Because I have like an interest in motorcycles, I grew up running like a motorcycle shop. My wife got interested in it, once we got together. So it kind of gave me an excuse to buy more choppers and bikes.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, but we have a number of different projects we like to do, and we all run it under kind of one roof. And then at the same time, and behind the scenes, we're working with other companies and different things like that. Mostly marketing, a lot of psychological marketing, advertising, content creation, things like that.
Okay.
You're right in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we live near like the airport area, so a little bit outside the city, but kind of a nice spot.
Little Moon Township around there, or?
Yeah, real close to Moon. It's it's nicer for us out here because if we want to get on our bikes, we can hit the road and go. We don't have to sit through too much traffic.
And before we get any further, you got to tell us what you've got, motorcycle wise.
Oh, well, before we moved here, I had a lot more, but we had to sell like some of the Hondas and stuff. We got a few different Sportsters, a couple shovel heads. I think like 3 of them are choppers. One of them, I built a scrambler out of a Sportster, so it's like an off-road Sportster. Kind of looks like an old
that'd be cool
bike. Mm-hmm. And then my wife, we had like a street tracker style Sportster for her. She has a shovel head. I got a shovel head. There's just so many things. You know how it is. Everything's coming and going. You're always buying and selling different things like that. But right now, that's all we can fit. So
there you go.
Yeah, when you have a shovel head, you got to join that How to Fix It shovel head club,
What's that?
I said, when you have a shovel head, you got to join that How to Fix It club. Shovel heads are pretty unique. Yeah.
They're cone shovels, so they're a little less picky, but maybe we'll sell a couple and pick up an old pan or something like that someday.
Well, I want you to call me if you go to sell any of those. Greg will give you my phone number, my cell phone, after we're off air. And if you ever look to sell them, let me know. I've got guys, including myself, that might be interested.
Yeah, okay. Well, Larry will pay a premium price, so you can ask the world for it.
He's loaded. He's loaded.
If I was Rick, I'd be loaded, man.
Yeah.
See that car?
Not right now. I'm not.
Well, you're not loaded the way you're thinking you're loaded, but yeah.
That's later. That's later on.
No, okay.
There, Rick. It looks like water, but it's really vodka, right?
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Scotch. How do you think we get through the hour?
Denise, we want to get to you real quick here too. Give us a little bit of your bio and your background on what's your life been like, and what interests you as far as the motorcycles go.
Oh, I just like. I grew up on them. I had a little 90 when I was 14, so I've been riding them off and on all my life, and I got this one in 2001 when the FZ1 first came into the country, and just fell in love with it. And Oklahoma City, is kind of boring and flat. So I started making trips to Arkansas.
Okay.
And Arkansas is about 200 miles from here. And so I was making a trip over there every other weekend about. So I need to move over there, but I haven't made it there yet. And next thing I knew, 5 years come, and I had 100,000 miles on the bike.
In 5 years. Wow.
Now 5 years.
She's a rider.
10 years came down the road. I had 200,000 miles on it. My dealer threw me a 200,000 mile party.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I'm going to go for 300,000. Well, life kind of got in the way. I didn't change jobs. I changed companies that owned my job. And so I didn't get to ride quite as much after that. And so I didn't quite ride as much. So now it's taken me another almost 12 years, and I haven't got that last 100,000 miles.
So you're going for 300,000 miles in that thing. You got the original engine in that and everything, right?
Original engine. It's had the valves checked 3 times.
Checked or changed?
Checked.
Wow.
It's been inspected over time. It uses a little bit of oil, so I was getting the habit of carrying these little 3-ounce bottles of oil. Mm-hmm. And basically, I check it about every trip to Arkansas. I'll check it, put a little oil in, check it again. Anytime it needs it, add a little bit of oil.
How many sets of tires, Denise, have you gone through? And I know the rears are going to go quicker than the fronts.
About every 10,000 miles.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Every 10,000 miles.
So 30 sets of tires.
God.
One 5 sets of
30
or
cents,
given
yep.
5 sets of tires over the years.
Yeah,
And
let's
a
put,
set of tires is probably $350, $400.
I priced a set of tires the other day, and it was almost $800.
oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything has gone up so much. I'm
They are
getting into the,
expensive. I'm not going with them.
yeah.
Mhm.
But
Are
I
you
miss,
talking about the Michelins?
yeah, the Michelin PR6s, the new ones.
I'll tell you what, I have had, I've run those, and I like it, especially in the, like when it gets a little colder or wet weather riding. But I'll tell you what, I've been running the Dunlop Road Smarts, the different variations all the way up to the 4s and 5s. And I think it's just as good handling, Now, I haven't put a lot of wet weather riding in them, so I can't really offer a comparison there. But as far as getting them heated up and getting them to stick, and also trying to get some decent mileage out of them, they're pretty good.
Now that's what I've got on the FZ10, because that's my second bike is this FZ10.
Mistake you bought that. Should have
I know it.
got 300 because you're going to want to ride the new one all the time.
I was waiting on a chain cam tensioner to come in, and it was on a
Okay.
slow boat from China.
well, you know what?
Already.
Let me put this into perspective. I was just talking about, I had a Ford Ranger that I sold that had 425,000 miles on it, original engine, and that is a little bit different because a motorcycle, all the heat and all the insane pressure on the bearings and the rings and the valves and all that, because of the high RPMs, puts more wear on them. That's amazing that you can even get that much on an original. A car is totally different. You're not revving as high. You're not putting that heat and wear on that. And the clutch assemblies and all that stuff in there is taking 10 times more wear, but you're still getting that much mileage out of it. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's impressive things I've heard. I don't know anybody that has that many miles on.
no.
Let me tell you, Denise is a rider and she's stuck with it. But I can tell you, to answer your question directly, that's like a leader bike, and it was made over successive years, and improvements have been made. But those are water-cooled bikes, and that's a game changer.
Yeah.
If you have a water-cooled bike with a radiator and a thermostat that will control the water temperature and keep it into optimum operating range, not too cold, not too hot, and and the valves. And she said she's only had 3 valves checks, and none of them have really been off. I found that to be a true example of a lot of Japanese water-cooled bikes. You might, during the first 30,000 miles, have to change a shim out or something, but then after everything is settled in, I mean, it's golden for as long as you want to keep it. So,
Yeah.
Denise, what kind of bike was that again?
It's a Yamaha FZ1.
You want to try to get in touch with Yamaha, see if they'll sponsor you with that many miles on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they'll pay for some gas or something to get back and forth, some oil changes.
They give me a
tires.
jacket and a pair of boots, and the guy that gave them to me went to work for Yamaha the next month, and I lost track of him.
Oh, jeez.
now let's
KTM.
point out the bike that's behind her is the 300,000 mile
Yeah.
FZ1.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Now, how close are you to 300,000 miles?
I'm within about 6,500 miles.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that's nothing.
Couple weeks. Huh?
Yeah.
couple rallies. Now, Denise,
Yeah.
if you, a lot of the women will definitely look up to you, and many of the guys that know anything about how to put mileage and how hard it is to put mileage in the States. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into this riding, how long you've been riding, and what made you decide on the FZ1?
Well, as I say, I grew up on them. So I had a 90 when I was 14.
Okay.
But then I got a 750 Nighthawk after my divorce. And I put 6,500 on it in 5 years. Or 65,000 rather. In 5
Oh,
years.
geez.
65,000.
Yeah, 65,000.
High mileage queen, boy, I'll tell you that.
And then it just didn't have the get up and go when I wanted to pass somebody. So this thing came to the States, and I thought, oh, this is too much bike for me. And you had to put a down payment on it. I wasn't going to do that. Well, it came in somebody turned it down, and my dealer says, you're going to like this bike. And I went down thinking, oh, I'm not going to like it. I took it for a ride, and I came back 50 miles later, and I said, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I hope you have a good seat on that bike, huh?
I got a Corbin. First trip I had on it, I took off for State College, Pennsylvania. From Oklahoma.
Oh, shoot. From Arkansas or Oklahoma?
Yeah, in June. And got to the Honda Hoot in Knoxville, Tennessee. And my butt was killing me.
I was going to say that many miles. My God.
And stopped at the Corbin booth, and I asked them, do you have a Yamaha saddle? And they said yes. They put it on, and it's still on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Corbin's for sure.
Yes, I like that Corbin.
Yeah.
And the difference, Greg, a lot of the aftermarket seats like Sargent or Day Rider, stuff like that, either they cosmetically don't look good or they're a softer, what they call atomic cushion. The claim to fame for Corbin is that they look good and they're a hard seat. You will not sink down and then starts to hurt your sit bones. You can sit on that seat and all you have to do is just slide a little to the left, a little to the right, little forward, little backwards. I've done the iron butt to get in, 1,000 miles, 1,100 in a day kind of thing. And Corbin's my choice. We had Mike Corbin on last year.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought we had Corbin on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Now, Kurt, you say you and your wife go riding in that, and where have you been riding in as trips and?
Well, none of our bikes will make it that. Riding to State College from Pittsburgh would be like a big deal. So, I mean, it's hard with us. Our schedule used to be a little more clear in the past. And then when the pandemic hit, it was just like survival mode. Mm-hmm. So we haven't had too much time, to really get anywhere outside of the tri-state area recently. But, we have little plans. Our dream would be to buy like a big Mercedes van and kind of clean it out and make some rooms for the choppers, to put them in the back and just sort of go on like a tour that way. I don't know if I'm going to want to take 300,000 miles on or something like that.
Yeah, there's not too many people like that, believe me.
Well, you know what? Bob Wenzel, we interviewed his son, Quinn, who's a professional racer. He races hard enduros, which is harder than Supercross. It's something that you really can get hurt right away on. Mm-hmm. And he has one of those Mercedes-Benz gigantic vans, and in the front half is the driver's compartment. Then in the middle half is his sleeping quarters. There's 2 bunk beds, and there's the stereo system, the beer cooler, all that. And then in the back, he carries his 2, they're called Rehu. They're a derivative of gas, and he carries them. And then his chief mechanic flies and meets him, and he just drives all over the country. So
that's my style right there.
Yeah. Oh, it's comfortable.
You got to have somebody load them for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't load a bike. I cannot load a bike in a vehicle.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, I've got a question here. Have you ever seen, and maybe the audience can chime in on if you're watching the YouTube broadcast in the comments, I've seen where even in a pickup truck, they have it's like a platform that comes down and it slides down, and then you can lock your bike on and it just comes right up into your truck bed.
So,
I've seen those, and I'm like, I've seen them for, then some are scams on Facebook or something, but I have seen those, and do they work?
Well, you start out with what they call a wheel chock. And Harbor Freight sells some inexpensive ones. I bought a Condor, and what happens is I can take even that Sportster, run it right up on the trailer, push it right in, and it rolls over and locks the wheel. I can actually get off the bike, let my hands go, and that bike will stay stationary and upright in that. Now, you don't want to go without putting your tie-down straps, but that's one generation. Then I've seen these things where for big bikes, like the big bagger bikes that Harley makes, the FLHs, you drive up onto this thing and you lock it down with your straps. Then you push a button, you have a remote control, and the thing just slides up a rail and then tips over and goes right into the bed.
That's what I've seen. Those are the type.
Mm-hmm. No, those are real
operations.
No, so Larry, you still have the 2x6 boards that you put up and try to drive up on the truck, right?
Oh no,
You know,
I have a. Oh no,
yeah,
no, I'm not falling off of that. I had that injury last year was enough to last me. But I have no. I've got what they call an ATV ramp. So it'll fold, and then when it opens up, it's a 4x8 with little fingers that hook onto the bed, and then I can drive my ATV up, and then I take because. Like if I carry the Sportster, the Jiffy stand and its spring and where it attaches to is very low. So you can't ride on the bike at an angle, where the ramp is at a sharp angle to the bed.
Yeah.
So you get it up and then the bike drop over. So you have to I have a single ramp. So I put that up against that big wide ramp, lift up the back end, and then I can get the bike and I can walk it right up by walking on the big ramp and pushing the bike up on the other ramp. Then I lock it in and then I tie it down.
Well, I've got to go ahead,
Loading
Rick.
a bike is an art.
Hey, Denise, you ever think about contacting Guinness Book of World Records?
Nah.
No,
Yeah.
there's so many people that have done millions of miles on bikes.
Millions?
Yeah.
Not the biggest-
How about for a female, though?
well, maybe for a
And-
female.
And
Yeah.
one bike, just one.
We
bike.
had one bike, yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. I know there was some guy that did was it $1 million just now on a Goldwing or something, and came to Ohio, got a new bike the other day.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
something to consider,
Doing big miles on a Goldwing is a lot different than doing big miles on an FZ1, which is basically a standard naked sport bike. It's 1,000cc, double overhead cam, 4-valve. It'll rip. I tell you what, my son had one of those, and I took it up to Moto and had it rejetted and put a different set of pipes on it and that. And boy, I'll tell you what, when you lit that afterburner, you better be leaning forward.
Yeah, you got to.
Once
You hit 100, you better be hanging on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ducking down.
Kurt, I want to get back to you real quick. Pittsburgh Moto.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Explain what exactly is it, and to explain your involvement with Pittsburgh Moto.
We call it a magazine, but it's more like, I guess the definition would just be like a zine or a coffee table book type of thing. It's not really filled with ads. We just have some ads in the front and back. But really, it's something, my wife is a really great photographer. She does wedding photography and portrait photography. That's kind of like one of our other businesses that we run, one of the primary ones that actually makes money.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the motorcycle stuff. But
That's a good stuff.
we have...
Let me ask you this, Kurt. Do you know Adam Pratt?
Yeah, I know Adam.
That's
He was
where
actually a sponsor of Glory Days for a couple of years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I guess we're going to come up there. Greg's going to commit us, but I think I've seen your magazines in his shop.
Yeah, he's been in. We did a feature on him and his dad. They had he had a Triumph and a Panhead, and we did like a joint venture in Beaver because they had some history there. And it was a really cool one. I think it was like issue 5. I'm pretty sure because he just reached out recently, and I just sent him some old copies. Magazine it's a way for us to build awareness for custom motorcycles in Pittsburgh. It's kind of a niche, it's hard for us to cover everything from sport bikes and touring bikes and everything like that. So because it's something we do on the side, we just said let's just stick to like the custom side, people that are building things in the shops, things like that. It's hard to get the entire motorcycle industry into one publication without, just being a side job really. But anybody who, takes an old, it's a lot of Harleys because they're the ones people seem to chop up and modify. But anytime somebody does any other motorcycle and they make it really unique, we usually reach out to them and we'll meet up with them and I'll interview while my wife photographs the bike. And then I'll come back together and put it all together in a magazine. We started out like 3 issues a year, but we've kind of trimmed it down to 2 issues a year and increased page count because it's hard to keep up with, especially just being a local magazine.
Now,
it's well done. Well done.
I was going to say, if you get a chance, I did take a look I was just down at Youngstown Cycle Supply. So Youngstown Cycle and Speed there 2 days ago, and I saw your magazine, your publication sitting there. I took a look, and wow, it's incredible. It's impressive. Great photography. It's a nice publication. So where can you pick those up at? Where can you go online? Can you go to?
Yeah, the easiest place is pittsburghmoto.com. You
Okay,
know, we have subscriptions, back issues available. So yeah, and we also, like, after we release an issue, just because we want to make this more about showcasing the bikes and getting them out there. So with my creative background, with like a lot of like e-commerce and search engine optimization stuff, we sort of plug in all the print features into the website over time. So they slowly get released over the months after an issue release. So you can actually even see just tons of features on the website as well of all the different bikes that have been featured. Adam's feature is even on there if you scroll back a few years.
Yeah, it's something to check out. So PittsburghMoto.com is where you can find information on that, and it's something to, if you're a motorcycle guru, it's something to take a look at. It really is. Yep. And I'm a car guy, but I was sitting there just kind of enthralled in looking at the pictures because, you know, again,
it's a unique magazine. Unique.
Yeah. It is.
Kurt, you got anything on Facebook or YouTube or anything like that?
We don't have a YouTube yet. It's hard to juggle the time, but we do have a Facebook and Instagram. The Instagram's probably where, because it's photography, it kind of works easy for us, you know, in that way, to just post pictures and kind of keep the content rolling on that way. But yeah, so really the website has most of the content, and you can actually read the features and things on there.
So yeah, because Adam Pratt, we had him in the last podcast for Youngstown Cycle and Speed, and he mentioned get Kurt on here as well. And how long have you? How did you get wrapped up with Adam Pratt? When we asked that question,
through the magazine. I'm not sure who contacted who. It was probably him contacting me because he mentioned where he was from, and it's hard because we try to keep the content in greater Pittsburgh, but that is like 11 counties. It's hard, you know, there's not, if we limit it to just the city, we're going to run out of material really quick because a lot of the motorcycles are from outside the rural areas. We have like a limitation of basically the 11 counties, kind of dipping into West Virginia and Ohio. But with his history being from the Beaver area, he just brought the bikes out there and we photographed them and did the interview there. And that's how I got to meet him. And then whenever he took over with Youngstown, the Youngstown spot, it was just, you know, everything kind of fell into place, and we would go to his events, and he came down to the Glory Days show. And, you know, that's how.
So we were talking about that Glory Days show. That's a pretty big thing, huh?
Yeah, it's neat. It was an idea that I think my wife and I were in Austin, Texas, because we travel around and we get to see like different motorcycle scenes from around the country. And one of the issues we had with Pittsburgh, it just didn't seem like kind of together. It was sort of fragmented, and like, you know, in a lot of other cities, you'd see big groups of custom motorcycles just together and having events and different stuff like that. So we wanted to bring some type of an event, more like an art showcase, like a curated gallery show of custom built bikes to Pittsburgh. And we ended up getting in, it's a national historic landmark called Carey Blast Furnaces, like in the Swissvale, Rankin neighborhoods of Pittsburgh. And it's a legendary site. It's where they did like old World War II iron making. It looks like something kind of like a steampunk setting, you know, where it's this intensely historic building. So whenever we got the green light from them, they had to do some renovations for occupancy and stuff like that. But once we ended up getting the green light, it was really fun to put that show together. And we've been doing that. The first year was 2019, and then 2020 happened, and we got back into it in 2021 and last year, and we're going to keep it going as long as we can.
Yeah. So
when is it there, Kurt?
Every late September. This year's
what's the date on that?
September 23rd of this year, we'll have the next event, Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, and just a reminder, if you're ever looking for something to do, that we do have the Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show up at Austintown Park, so you can always come up there. And, you know, we're always looking for custom bikes or anything to come up the, Austintown Park. So,
hey, Kurt, keep us in touch with all that stuff, all right? Send us some flyers, and we can get it on the air for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Maybe we can come down there too, you know?
Yeah, it'd be great. We'd love to have you. It's always a fun time. It's interesting. It has like a throwback psychedelic theme to it, just to sort of fit the setting of the historical landmark that it's in. But we get a lot of old vans, a lot of hot rods in the parking lot. So it's motorcycles inside, but there's almost 3 areas. There's 2 outdoor sections. There's outdoor vendors, indoor vendors, and you can take tours of the blast furnace as well.
That's cool.
Guys, Rivers of Steel is the nonprofit that runs it, and you get a little hard hat and you can run through it and actually see how people used to work back in the early 1900s, and it's pretty wild.
Wow, you think just a little piece of history. You think your job is dangerous now of doing what they did back then with no safety equipment in there, and that blows me away.
I worked in those steel mills when I was younger, man. It wasn't fun.
Me too.
Yeah.
1971.
Yep,
yeah, there was no ventilation. They just have ladders that 100 feet in the air that you have to climb with no safety. It's wild.
Underneath some of those blast furnaces, and especially what they call the blooming mill, where they would take an ingot of steel and start smashing it down with hydraulic presses. Well, all of the scale would come off and go down, into what they call the soaking pit. So when I was in there in the summer of 71, or I should say January of 71, it was 21 degrees, and I was on the labor gang. And they used to give you a pair of boots and you wear your jacket and you climb down that pit and you have to try and walk because there's grease and the slag and all that forms a kind of muck that you literally could pull your leg out of your joint, and you definitely will pull your foot out of the boot. And you got to go in there with a 3-inch high pressure hose and you got to wash that stuff out into what they call the sluiceway. Well, sometimes it gets blocked up. So you're on your knees and the water's on up to your chest and you're blowing that stuff through. And of course, when you get out of there, they pull you out and then you can go into the locker room and get changed because you're frozen. It's 21 degrees out, but it's, there was some growing up to do in some of those jobs. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I'll take sitting in here and doing a podcast any day.
Well, it makes you realize that going to college is a piece of cake,
That's why I went to college. I worked at the steel mill, and I said, I'm not going to do this.
Same thing, Rick. Same exact thing, man. And even though my dad was the general foreman, my grandfather was the yard master, my other grandfather was the safety director of all of Youngstown Sheet and Tube. So I had the whole family going in there, but I think that went against me because during college breaks, a lot of the guys, especially the foremen that I'd work for, they would think that someday I would be their boss. So they made sure that I remembered them. And I got a lot of the tough jobs, which made me say, hey, I don't want to work here.
Kurt had mentioned something about getting content. And Rick and I have been doing the Street Scene show this will be our 15th year.
15th year.
15th year. And you know what? We kind of expanded. Speaking of that, I had to mention this. We've kind of expanded out towards, we went down to Zelienople where we're going down to, this year we're going down to the Jeep Fest in Butler, and
we are, huh? I didn't know that.
I went last year.
I went down there last year. What a hoot that is!
Oh, I know.
That's crazy.
So it's one of those things where we've been at this area. We go out and we interview people, and there's always cars to interview, but on the video side of it, you always see the same cars over and over and over again. We were like, okay, we got to get some more content. And that was what reminded me of that. And I'm sure with doing photography and motorcycle, photography and your publication, you do run out of content in that little area there. So
with us doing 2 issues a year, it's, right now we're still getting by and we're finding stuff. And every now and then someone will point us in the direction of maybe an old chopper guy or a guy who has like a wild collection of old vintage race bikes or something like that. So they just kind of pop up, and anything interesting that's at least in the Pittsburgh region we'll cover, at least just to give it exposure and get it out there. The content world's tough because just even on the creative side, that's even non-motorcycle related, it seems like we're really pressured now to just keep going. Like you're almost just producing content for the machine, And it just gets a little overwhelming for people. So, my advice to everybody is just do what you love with it and just do what you can, because nobody's really keeping track of it. But You guys
how do we get
live podcast or something at the events, or do something interesting?
How do we get in touch with you, Kurt? Say somebody has an interesting story, a nice collection, and they want to get in touch with you. How do we get in touch with you?
Through the website, email, whatever. Mm-hmm. I run and handle everything, so anytime a message comes in, it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's PittsburghMoto.com.
PittsburghMoto.com. Okay.
And then GloryDaysPGH.com. It's DAZE PG GloryDaysPGH.com.
So it's GloryDAZE.PGH.com.
Yeah.
That's a good way to, there's always good stories out there. Rick and I and Larry, and we've been doing this a long time. And there's always good stories and everybody's got a story. There's always a story behind the motorcycle, like Denise's. And there's always something to tell. So, and that's what we've liked to feature all this time. People's stories.
Yeah, the motorcycle almost becomes like just like the back. It's the reason that we're talking to someone, or sort of the reason that we're interviewing them. But it's always fun to get people's backstories and see why they got involved with it, why they made the decision, what maybe inspired the build, stuff like that.
I have a question for you, Kurt. Excuse me, Greg. Is it okay?
It's all right.
We just lost a magazine a couple months ago, Cruising Times, and I'm pleased to announce that a new group has bought it, and they're coming back April. But they cited the extreme costs of printing. A lot of the magazines, like if you remember Dirt Rag out of Pittsburgh, it was a mountain bike magazine, just wonderful magazine. And I was just so saddened that they had closed, citing some of those challenges that a print, the hold in your hand magazine would have. What are you finding? I know you're only printing 2 issues a year, and there's a economy of scale. The more you print, the less it should cost. But what is your thoughts on what's going on? Are you going to be able to sustain this? Do you think?
Yeah. I mean, in the motorcycle world, Iron and Air is shutting down. They were a really great publication out of like New Hampshire, very artistically a beautiful magazine. I just think they've been doing it for so long, that you can't really blame people for wanting to step away from something. But as far as print, I mean, it's getting more expensive. I think we have 12 issues now. We've changed printers like 4 times. It's just really hard. And that's just even print companies going under. So
Wow.
Even for the magazines, it's hard to keep it up, but it's also hard if you're the printing and the publisher, it's hard to keep that going as well. So it is. The good news with us is we have low overhead. We don't have really employees. It's just my wife and I. We can do some short run prints. Even if we have to reprint a few hundred at a time, it's really not that big of a deal to us. And we're not solely relying on it as a source of income. As long as it pays for itself and we're able to keep it going on the side, that's really the whole point. It's mostly just like a window into the Pittsburgh motorcycle scene. It's a way for us to do events, like Glory Days, and we have a couple other small events around town. But it also helps like local fab shops, like the guys that are doing custom painting around the town, or they're trying to open up like some type of a mechanic shop or something like that. That way it gives them a little bit more of exposure and just awareness, because everybody's just so crammed with, there's so many things stealing everybody's attention these days. It's really hard to ask somebody to sit down and look through a magazine. A lot of people that get it, it's whenever they tell me, I read this article, it's even surprising to me that it's like, you actually read it? Like, it's just such a great feeling that someone actually did that instead of just scrolling through the images a lot of the time.
If you know anything about Harley Davidson, it's the most sought after and sold motorcycle, in the world. Set rail. But you look at the Enthusiast magazine, if you belong to the Harley Owners Group National, they have ceased their Enthusiast printed publication. It's all digital now. You have to either read it there or print it out on your own. And a lot of these guys that are in their 60s and 70s that plunk down $39,000 that have the availability to do that, they don't want to go to a computer and print it out. They want to have a nice, 30-pound bonded stock kind of thing, and much like your magazines. And I was saddened when I heard that they were going to quit. I got the last issue now, and well written. What I liked about it is I read an article about a guy, African American, who in the 50s was having trouble buying a bike and became friends with the Harley dealer. Guy sold him a bike. Guy turns around, it's old panhead, and he chromed everything on that panhead, chromed everything. And over the years, it became very well known. But there was a place where you could put your phone on, and get the code reader. And then the story really came alive because now it became a video. And that's kind of a neat thing to be able to do. You have a print section, and if you want to bop to, electronic media kind of thing, you can do that. But I was just wondering how you guys were handling that. But I think your main point was no or low overhead. Big deal.
Yeah. Well, some people don't like our Instagram's pretty popular and stuff, but it's something I don't want to just lean on it as like the sole provider. You're not really making anything off of that. It's more just, it's you're marketing the market. It's just like kind of a continuous,
How about some of those YouTubers? They make $40,000 a month.
Yeah.
They do all this goofy thing. Yeah.
Wow.
I started finding that out, and I was trying to think, like, how could we do that? Us three.
It's one of those things. It's all in the analytics for YouTube, and it's just we just went through this with or our YouTube site for the Armstrong Neighborhood channel, and a lot of it's monetized now. But you have to hit a lot of views to get a pay. But, there's ways around it, and it's all analytics. And some of these, you got me on a rant, Larry, because, being a video guy as well, some of the stupid videos that go on the YouTube, it just blows me away, and people watch it. But, oh my God.
It's like the comedy hour,
Oh, yeah, it drives me absolutely insane.
If you start watching those, like I'll want to fall asleep, then I'll go out and sit on the couch for a while. Next thing I know, it's 2 hours later. I'm thumbing through one video after another after another. Look, we found a bunch of baby monkeys in Thailand in a box, and we're going to take care of them. And then the guy gets the monkey, and he doesn't realize it's a monkey, treats it like a little baby. So he washes it, gives it a shower. Then he blow dries his hair, and then the monkey goes out and craps before he gets the diaper on it. So
wow, Larry, what are you watching on YouTube?
Jeez. Monkey videos.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
Yeah, my wife's already on to that. Like, I think I got caned about it. So.
That's what you guys need.
She thought
so you're part of the problem here. I complain about the quality of video work and that, and nobody likes quality video anymore. And Larry, you're the problem too. So I see.
Yeah, but guess what? My son has a dog, and it's my grandson. So my son was looking for another dog a little bit bigger, and I said, "Oh, I got the perfect thing, man. How about a monkey?" And he looked at me and he's like, a monkey. He goes, I already got a 10-year-old that's a monkey. It's no real monkey.
Is it the orangutans that crap in their hand and throw it at you or something? Isn't that what they do?
That's not a monkey.
Really?
No, that's not a monkey. Yeah, you understand, that's not a monkey. And plus, they don't look good. You ever see them? They're orangish and long hair.
How the heck did we get started on this? We're talking about motorcycles, and all of a sudden we're starting about monkeys and crap and all sorts of stuff and diapers. And
I'm trying to figure out how to make money on YouTube.
How does that work out like that? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that world's tough. I used to run other magazines. I did like an arts and travel magazine. I did numerous zines and things like that. It's hard. It's just hard to keep it going. I think anybody, like, the goal is just keep it going. Even if you're not doing anything at the start or you don't have many views, if you end up building up enough backlog, you'll sort of figure it out in time. You just have to, it's a survival thing, really.
Yeah.
And then different medias change. I mean, now with TikTok and everything, it's wild. You just don't know.
It's to keep up with the times. That's all it is.
Now we have to do another thing, and it's one of those. My wife and I will have conversations. It's like, how much time do we really want to dedicate to making these little videos? They take a long time.
Let me tell you a quick piece of advice here that I judge. There's a Telly Awards every year. I'm a judge. I've been a judge for 10 years now on that, and companies and organizations from all over the world submit their videos for awards. And some of these videos, it used to be in between. Oh, this is pretty good. This is really good. Now this is awesome, or this sucks. There's no in between now for judging these, because there's some that people think they're the world of awesome videos, and they're like something from YouTube. And then there's some that's, put on from, like NBC and that to get judged. I'm like, that's just incredible. So yeah, there's no in between now, and there's no. It's like cutthroat survival of the fittest on that anymore.
Hey, I wondered how we won our Telly Award. So
no, that's not from me. Yeah,
well, wait a minute. I can explain that, Rick. You won the Telly Award when you combined the Power Hour.
Yeah. Well, considering if you're watching the Power Hour, we want to thank you because I just came from a corporate meeting from Armstrong, and we are one of the top watched shows on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. So we can we can cheer for that. So thank you for keep watching, keep listening.
Sure, it was that episode where the monkey was driving the car and shifted.
What does a monkey have to do with it, Larry?
Well, that's why people are watching, maybe, or maybe
there's no monkeys. There's only one monkey on here, and it's you.
The three monkeys that are hosting the show, maybe.
Those two monkeys hosting the show, and it's not the one in the light blue shirt up here. So,
I have a question for Denise, if I could.
Yeah.
No,
do you
it's
have
not.
a monkey, Denise?
How many monkeys do you own, Denise? No.
Oh God, just you, Larry.
No, the question is,
what are you going to do with me this year, Larry?
what's that?
How many rallies are you going to do with me?
Well, you know what? I'm definitely doing Star.
Okay.
Because you know what? The BMW National is right before it. Just like last year when I went to Missouri. And by the way, that was so hot. Oh, my God. So I went to Missouri to Springfield, went to the BMW rally, and then Sunday night I met up with another buddy, Bob Schoenfeld, and we traveled over to the Marriott in Cape Girardeau, which I haven't been to in 20 years. And so I immediately went to the BMW shop, and we went over to in Illinois where Superman, Metropolis, Illinois, and that's the home of Superman. So we donned capes and had a whole bunch of hoot and fun stuff like that.
With
but
monkeys.
I'm going to Star. I'm going to Star, and then I'm going to. I always go to Pat's thing down in Kentucky. I'll go to the one in Marietta, and I'm trying to think of what else. But I'm going to be riding a Harley.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you
Well, I
ride
know
the
that-
Panamera? Pan
No,
America?
actually, no. I got an old '93 Sportster, but I have the suspension. I worked on it and that. But I used to road race, and the guys see the Sportster, and the MSTA guys. There's a little bit of flyby guys and that, but I haven't really had anybody say, "We left him, we dropped him." I don't. That hasn't happened yet. So I think they're a little surprised when they hear that thing barking behind them. Because I'll start shifting the gears, and you can hear it pretty good. And so it's a lot of fun, but you got it's a great organization, Motorcycle Sport Touring. We've had both Norm Kern, the vice president, Pat McGovero, the president. Greg was kind enough to have him on the show last year and the year before as well. So we try and promote, all aspects and facets of the motorcycling. But Denise, I sure hope we start out together down in Daytona.
I hope so. I've got it on my schedule, and I've got.
I bugged you last year. Remember, I bugged you and bugged you. Finally said, "Oh, I can't go work."
Well, yeah, that one was out of my hand, and the year before I busted my knee, so I couldn't come that year.
Denise, if you go down,
good.
you're gonna ride the bike down or tow it down?
That one I actually end up towing because I come with a friend, and he won't ride down.
No.
And
Okay.
Okay. I gotta.
Awesome.
too.
How many miles is that from Oklahoma?
It's about 1,200.
1,200? Okay.
1,200, something like that. It's 500 to Memphis, where I put it on the trailer, and then we go on from there.
That's just a day's ride for you, huh?
But yeah, but I'll probably be riding it to Star, which is in Knoxville from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Is there any place that you really want to go? It's like on the bucket list of where you want to ride to.
Oh, this year or just any time?
Just any time. There's got to be a bucket list place that you want to go.
Well, I've been to Europe 3 times already.
Oh, geez. You didn't ride the bike there, though, right?
No, I rented bikes from Edelweiss.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, do you want to go to the Isle of Man?
That would be a blast.
Wouldn't
I would
it?
love that.
I know. I
But-
keep saying, boy, you better get going. You better get going. And every year I watch it on one of the cable things, and I'm like, damn it. And I better
Missed
get
it
going
again.
because I'm not getting any younger. That's
Bill and
for sure.
Gayla went last year, and they had a blast.
Hmm.
So, but
Ert.
I would like to do up in Maine, up the far northeast or the far northwest. I've never made up that far either way. I've made most everything in the central U.S. and the east and the west coast pretty much, other than the populated areas like DC stuff.
I'm going to take my bigger bagger bike, the Heritage Softail. It's an older one, and I think I'm going to go to the Pacific Coast Highway, ride the north section of it. I've always wanted to do that. It's on a bucket list. Probably take a month off. I'll do my show on the road, Greg.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not getting that off that easy, of doing that.
Yeah, we did Highway 101 through Big Sur, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's weird that you have to check and see if there's roads closed.
Is that where they have the giant trees?
That's north of there, yeah. So it's the redwoods are a little north of San Francisco, but yeah, that highway's a blast, especially through Big Sur.
Is that Highway 1? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful up there. Monterey and Carmel and
if you fly into Monterey, that you can rent. There's bike rentals. I think we rented a couple new Harleys at the time and just kind of went north and south.
Sure.
Yeah.
What a blast, huh?
We got a couple minutes here. Kurt, I have to ask people this, and Larry and Rick know this question. Yeah, whatever your name is, and I forget. I try to put that aside.
It's Monkey.
Kurt, dream bike. What do you want? What would you love to have? There's got to be a dream bike.
That's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, I'm a Harley guy, so an old Harley would be nice. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe a 40s knucklehead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, knucklehead.
Our dream would be like to have a living room big enough to just have an even older, like a 1903 or something, just sitting here. I saw the one go in the auction recently.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, how much did that one go for? It went for quite a bit of bucks.
It was a lot. It was under $1 million, but it was close.
God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Denise.
Yeah.
There's got to be one.
That's crazy.
One bike?
One bike. If you could just go out and pick it out, what would it be?
It would be the FZ1.
There you go.
I knew that was coming.
FZ1 with what, Denise?
With all the new electronics off the FZ10.
There you go. All right. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up real quick. I do want to put a little shout out to Adam Pratt. We had him on the last show. He's in charge of Youngstown Cycle and Speed. And he does our trophies for the Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show. And I'm trying to share the screen here, but he put these together. They're four. If you're watching this, those are
pretty cool.
They are metal cutouts, and they're about 1.5 feet long. Matt there at Youngstown Cycle Speed die cut these, and Adam painted them. And I'm going to tell you, I was blown away when I picked these up. And can get these. You can get your car, your motorcycle, die cut by Matt, and Adam will paint them. And it is affordable. And I'm going to get my son one of his Mustang, and they are just a great gift. You just have to go down to Youngstown Cycle and Speed. And I want to thank Adam for cutting these out, or Matt for cutting them out, and Adam for painting them, because they're awesome. So get down there.
Get one of the Firebird. That's cool.
I'm going to tell you, I was blown away. They did such a nice job, and it's so affordable. It's not even funny. With everything going up in price, it's a perfect gift. So I'm going to stop the share screen here, but check that out. Go ahead, Rick.
Before we end this thing, we were talking about the Cruising Times magazine. I looked it up, and they said they're going to have a big announcement at the Piston Powered show at the IX Center in Cleveland. And I think looks like they're going to call it Cruising Next Generation. That's what the magazine's going to be titled.
That's cool. I'm so glad that that's not going away.
Well, they're coming out. I just got the stuff and I sent it to you. I thought, Greg, April's going to be the first issue.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I get.
They said the big announcement's going to be 31st of March through the 2nd of April. So.
All right.
When we go up to the Piston Power Show, maybe we can interview them. I tried to get them on our podcast, but
we don't get to go to the Power Show. You guys get to go. I got left out.
Nah, that's not true. That's not true, Larry.
Yeah. You
Just
said
wait.
I don't have a pass.
Just wait. You might. So don't even.
If I'm going,
don't put a pass.
Rick's probably on vacation. That's the only reason I get to go.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Hey,
here we go. The pity
Rick.
party. Oh my God. The Power Hour guest or the Power Hour host doesn't get to go. Oh, here we go. But I want to remind everybody, if you are attending, if you have attended the Street Scene Car Custom Bike Show in the last 3 years, if you haven't already, we've sent out postcards inviting you specifically to come back. So it is July 23rd, 2023 at Austintown Park. That is a Sunday. And I sent the postcards out last week with about 600 addresses on there. So
I didn't get one.
You didn't, because I did.
No,
well, you did.
Got one.
You got one. Rick, you should be getting one because I sent it to your address. So,
sweet.
So, look for that in the mail if you haven't got it already. We do have extra available, but everybody's invited. So that's the 23rd of July. We do have a good season coming up. And Kurt, thank you for joining us. PittsburghMoto.com.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, PittsburghMoto.com. Make sure you check out. He's got awesome artwork. The videography, the publication's awesome.
If you got an interesting story, get in touch with them.
Yeah, PittsburghMoto.com.
Yeah.
Check that out. Denise, thank you. You got 6,000 miles to go on that bike. Get it done, and then we're gonna have you back on. Maybe we'll tear the engine apart and see how much wears on it, right?
and if you're on the motorcycle sport touring, it's called ridemst.com. She goes by FZ1 Girl. See so many posts throughout the years. Follow Denise if you can.
Yep.
I want to see you in the Guinness Book of World Records, Denise.
There you go. For Rick Guerrera and Larry Ward, my name is Greg Roten. This is Street Scene Power Hour. Check us out on Buzzsprout. Check us out on YouTube and the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. And
what's our Facebook?
No, we're not on Facebook. Yeah, but we do have a Facebook page, Street Scene on Armstrong Street Scene on Facebook. Look it up.
Yeah.
And for Larry Ward and Rick Guerrera, we will see you down the road.